Today, I'm going to talk to you how I defend the faith when you don't know much. Doing a little bit of a scenery change, trying to do a different setup for this one because this one's not going to be a minute clip. It's going to be a little bit longer just to talk about my personal experience and how I defend the Catholic faith, even though I don't know a whole lot. I consider myself a cradle Catholic convert. What do I mean by that? I was born Catholic, raised Catholic, left, and I guess you can consider myself more of like along the lines of an atheist. I didn't really believe there was a God. I just left it all. Stopped going to mass and things like that. And then eventually through Mercedes coming into the faith and watching her, it drew me back. Now, in that time, I didn't really look at other religions. I mean, I guess in the back of my mind, knew the Catholic Church was the true church. So growing up, I knew the basics. I knew what we did. I knew the rosary. I knew we went to mass. I knew this, very, very bare minimum. I knew about it, but I did not fully understand it, why we did the things that we did. And even now, I still don't know to a degree of everything there is. So it kind of makes it challenging to talk. So many people that can quote scripture and be right in your face about it and know boom, 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 boom. And I'm just a deer in the headlights. Granted, this makes it easier because when someone comments on a video, I have time to actually look it up to verify my facts. One of the best tools that you can use when it comes to defending the faith that I think gets underused, the catechism. It has tons of answers and references to everything you can think of. And for me, I also used my lack of knowledge when talking to other people as a way to build up my knowledge. For example, I'm talking about the rosary. Someone says, oh, well, why do you have a rosary? Blah, 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 blah. Yes, the easy answer to say is it's meditating on the life of Christ. However, if there are answers that I cannot give, it allows me to dig deeper into that topic and then I learn about that topic. And it's okay if you don't know the answer right then and there. No one knows everything. So people who can quote scripture really well, if you open up to a random spot in the Bible, they won't be able to quote every single thing. So it's okay that you don't know everything. But the beauty is we have the catechism and we have the church to verify everything. Like we can back stuff up. It's not just, our opinion. So I wanted to talk about some of the things that have helped me learn more about the faith because this is all, I feel like I'm coming into it new. So it's like training wheels all over again. And so that's one of the reasons why we started the channel to begin with, is to help others who may be in the same boat that we are, where we're not experts, but we're learning. And hey, I'm not an expert, but we have a YouTube channel and an Instagram, and we're just talking about the faith of our own experiences. And some people can probably relate to that. So to start with some of the resources that have helped me, number one, the catechism. Catechism, you're going to find so many things. This goes over everything. The next thing that I found very helpful, and it's such an easy read, Credo. This one is a phenomenal book to get, and it would definitely help understand a lot of the things or understand questions that people may have, and this has good answers. For example, what is devotion? The affectious desire to give ourselves promptly to all that pertains to the worship and service of God. This book has been extremely helpful with questions that I've even had to learn more about. The other one is scripture, because if scripture was so easy to understand, the meaning behind every word, everyone would be on the same page. But you have thousands of different opinions on stuff. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 40,000 denominations out there. So I read scripture and I try to learn what God is trying to tell me in my prayer time. But when it comes to putting out the meaning of it, I have to look it up, because I'm not going to put out my opinion of what it is. So with that, the Ignatius Catholic Study Bible. This has been extremely helpful. Then this is for the New Testament. Now they are making a whole Bible, which has the Old and New Testament, but that isn't going to be coming out until November of 2024. So not too far off. But this has been phenomenal in understanding scripture. When I'm in my prayer time, I'm not worried about what does it mean. It's however God's talking to me through that at that time. But I'm not going to go put it out there and say, this is what it means, because I could be wrong. If you asked me a couple years ago, would I be doing something like this? I would have said no. For one, I felt like I did not have the knowledge to talk about it. And I still feel like I don't know a lot about this stuff. It's a learning game. Like, I'm learning. And yeah, sometimes the questions can come and I don't know the answer. But honestly, I really don't care. Like, at the end of the day, I know the information that I have is true, and I'm okay with that. And some people may say, oh, so you're just blindlessly walking into this church and trusting everything they say. Isn't that what everyone who comes into the faith does? For an example, if I'm a Protestant and I'm trying to convince you to come to my parish or come to my church, and you don't know a lick of scripture, aren't I asking you to trust me and what I think scripture means? You're doing the same thing. So when you are talking with people and don't necessarily know everything, and people say, well, how is this possible? Just like, that's what the Catholic Church teaches. And then at that point, if they are interested, they can choose to learn more about the topic. And I think that's the cool thing. Like, not everyone is going to be theology scholars. Christ didn't start this church with the anticipation of everyone being theology majors and knowing every single thing. Like, there are a lot of people who are simple, like myself, that don't know it all and depend on the church to give them what they need to know. It's very relaxing to know that I don't need to know everything to be part of this church, because I have the people, I have the leaders to look up to help guide me on the path that I need to be. And I'm going to go back to where people will say, oh, well, you're just trusting a man-made religion. If you are reading the Bible and you're putting the meaning of scripture out there for others to see, you are creating your man-made opinion of scripture, because that's your opinion of what it means. You can go to 100 other people and I guarantee you'll get different answers for what that means. The Catholic Church, however, has one meaning of what scripture means. So in a nutshell, if you are hesitant about sharing your Catholic faith, do little things that how I started, and it was very intimidating. I did not want to do this by putting either stickers on your truck, wearing a miraculous medal, wearing a shirt. Like, this was very, very hard for me to, and sometimes it still gets a little uncomfortable, but they're great icebreakers because I don't have to say anything and people can just see it. And if they come to me asking questions, what's that? It opens the door. So there are little things you can do with sharing your faith, even though you feel like you don't know a whole lot. And as far as defending it, if someone comes and says, hey, your teaching is wrong, oh well. You know the truth and they don't. they're clearly showing their lack of knowledge of the Catholic faith, because had they actually did real research, and I'm not talking listening to somebody else bash the Catholic faith, if they talk to real Catholics and people who know the information, they would understand a lot of the stuff, everything that they say about us is false. They would know that the stuff that they're spewing out at you is false. So, especially on social media, when you have the ability to pause and look at their question, you have that moment to gain the knowledge you need to respond. And honestly, I rarely respond to a lot of the negative comments that I get anyway, because if they're just going to spew out a lie and it's just a comment, I'm not wasting my time with that. If someone has a general question, I try to answer that, or I will suggest, if you are seriously talking about it, if you are serious and wanting to learn about it, I'll email you. Because if you're willing to email me to have that conversation, then that tells me you are genuinely curious about learning it, or at least understanding it. So if you're like me that feels like they don't know much about the faith, just remember it's not that hard, because one, you have all the answers. So go check out those books. And if anyone can recommend any other books to put in the comments, that would be phenomenal, because I'll probably snag them myself. Those are just the 3 that I've been using a lot lately. That, and also Catholic Answers. Catholic Answers is a pretty good source to get, because they're going to have all those questions and you can see the responses. And it's funny because people say, oh, you're just getting your answers from Catholic Answers. You guys are given the same exact questions back to back to back to back. So if you don't like the responses from Catholic Answers, stop asking the same questions. And again, it's okay not to know everything. I'm going to keep stressing that. I hope this was helpful to anyone that could use it. It's been working for me, and hopefully it works for you. All right. Have a good one.